McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, all serve fast food.
Yeah.
But none of their messages are the same.
It's like, hey, this is the simplest way to sell your house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's the fastest. I'm not saying it's the best offer.
I think every real estate investor, like we talked about, has what? Fast, fair, cash offer.
Mm-hmm.
Most wholesalers aren't fast.
Yeah.
What? Define fair.
What's up, Wealth Bidders? Today, I've got one of my one-on-one students, Michael Smith. This dude is a wholesaler out of Columbus, Ohio. Did almost 200 deals last year. Is an absolute killer. We're going to be talking about what he's doing to be so successful, lessons learned in the past year, and what he needs to do to reach that next level of going to 8 figures and beyond. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you bringing me on.
Bro, I just got to say, first and foremost, you know, it's been like really fun to work with you because you're so low maintenance. You know, like I feel like I'm like, bro, dude, like I hope like I'm giving this guy enough value because he never hits me up for anything. And then we, you know, do our monthly calls and like there's always like insane progress. And you even just shared out there during Power Day. You're like, bro, I mean, I 6x'd from Q1 last year to this year. Like that was super cool to hear.
Yeah. No, I'm super fortunate. Leela, as you know, I have her.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we're on a call together, she's just taking a whole bunch of notes. So I don't need to go back to you and be like, hey, what do I need to do? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She's taken 100 pages of notes and she's holding me accountable to that every day.
Yeah.
So I have you who's the expert who can really help me out through all your resources and connections. And then you could spend that time with me teaching me what, hey, from a high level, because you've been in the trenches, you've done what I've done, and you can kind of give me a high level of, hey, you're looking at it all wrong. She takes those notes, and then I don't have to come back to you because she's already holding me accountable too.
She's already executing the moment we get off.
Exactly. Yeah, she's executing, and she's telling me the big 1, 2, 3 things I need to work on.
So what do you, for those who don't know, I mean, obviously I know she is, but like what is she in the organization?
Yeah, so we don't have a title for her, but I think most people in the real estate world will call her a COO.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that title, but she kind of does everything. She's my integrator.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. No, she's really detail oriented, asks great questions. Like you can always tell if somebody's going to be successful by the questions they ask.
Yeah.
That always sticks out to me. Whenever I hear somebody who doesn't ask good questions, I'm like, I wonder if they're even paying attention.
Yeah.
So she's great on that front. But, you know, I think it's interesting, right? Like you've scaled to this level of almost 200 deals last year. This year, you guys are going to double at least and, you know, keep growing. And, you know, obviously I've seen it firsthand. And so like, I know some of the things that have gone into getting to that point. And I think one of the interesting things was when we first met, dude, you had a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I think you were like, bro, so I want to do some multifamily. You know, we got these wholesales, we got these flips. I got a construction company. And I was like, dude, I know exactly what you're doing, man. This is going to be a rough day.
Yeah. Yeah. I owned over 100 rental units at that point.
Yeah.
Was flipping 30 to 40 deals a year. Trying to wholesale, wasn't doing very well at it. Had a property management company and then had a construction company of 16-ish employees, depending on the time.
Yeah.
And had a ton of headaches and never had any money in the bank at the end of the day.
I know. I was like, how's that construction company going? You're like, well, they service the flips and stuff. And I'm like, do they do anything else that's like worthwhile? Does it make any money? You're like, nope.
It didn't. It didn't.
I was like, why not just shut it down? I think that was like literally our first meeting.
Yeah, and it was very quickly into the meeting. You're like, time out. Let's talk about this.
And then I think you guys did. I think the next meeting you were like, hey, so I think you were like, I'm going to give it a month to see if it turns around. And then the next month you're like, yeah, we're shutting this thing down.
Yeah, we wanted to give them a chance to step up if they could. And just tell them like, hey, we're going hands off on this. You guys have had the resources. You've had me for over a year. At this point, it was 2 years, but a year of it, I had a W-2 job. And so I was like, hey, if they're who they say they are, they don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
So we let them know that, gave them about 30, 40 days to work that out. And it just got worse when I was hands off, like significantly worse. So it all came winding down very quickly.
Yeah.
Very grateful for that. Like it was hard letting some people go and lost someone who had worked for me for 3 years. But attitude and ego, he thought he was better than what he was. My life is so much better for that.
Yeah.
personally.
How was that, right? Because I have a tough time letting people go, you know?
It was terrible. I lost sleep over it. He was someone who had come in and done a lot for me. But at the end of the day, we had outgrown him significantly, and it sucked. And I knew probably 3-6 months in that I was gonna outgrow him. And Leela and I were having tough conversations about it from the get-go. And at one point, it was like, I can't manage him anymore. Like, he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. I've grown, and he's not. So Leela took that on, and she was coming to me. I can't do this anymore. And it kind of blew up. And I regret not letting him go a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Like upwards of 12 months sooner, honestly.
Yeah.
We would have been much better off, much more financially secure in our business model.
Yeah.
If we would have kind of parted ways sooner.
I can't think of one time where I kept somebody that I wanted to let go where it worked out.
Yeah, I think in business, we try to keep these people that we care about them. But when we're growing, you're creating that divide. And if they can't fit a role, it's best just to let them go so that they can go find that role somewhere else or whatever it is for them. And then you can continue to grow and you're not worried about them anymore.
Yeah. Because, what I found is we were just talking about somebody right before this podcast, but like you really like a person because they're great. Maybe, well, in this case, maybe he wasn't like even a great culture fit, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're talking about ego, but like maybe this is the worst. You do get somebody who's a great culture fit and a great person and all that, but it's like that position is maybe no longer needed or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so you're like, man, what do I do with this person? And so you just like give them, you create a new role for them that doesn't even need to really exist.
Yep.
So it's tough.
Yeah, and we've done that in the past, and his ego didn't shine until at the end, and that's when it was like it made it super easy when that started to shine to part ways.
Yeah. So I think that was like the first tipping point. You let go of the construction company
Yeah.
and like that freed up a ton of time and headspace and capital and all these other things.
Yeah, we lost some money on some equipment and stuff we had bought, tools, but it put some capital back in the bank. And the biggest thing was headspace. We didn't do much with the construction company, but we still spent 2 to 4 hours. But our headspace, man, they were just, we did not enjoy how much they were draining us.
Yeah.
So it was huge I felt like a new person
Yeah.
when that ended.
So you let go of that. And then I think the next thing we talked about was just wholesaling more. Because at that time, like you said, you had a bunch of rentals and you were doing, 30, 40 flips. Like what was the shift there?
So the shift was we had experienced 22, right?
Yeah.
Where flips were flying off the shelf. You project a 30K profit and you made 50. Life's great when that happens. That was my only experience with flipping. And then 22 happens June, July 22, right? And interest rates start to go up and that market kind of comes to a halt. So that's when I started wholesaling. And I had a whole bunch of rentals, but as interest rates started to go up, buying rentals didn't make so much sense anymore. In our market, I could buy them day one and make $200, $300, $400 a door when rates were 4.5%, 5% on commercial debt. But as it shot up to 6, 7, 8% that I went out the window and prices didn't necessarily drop. So multifamily didn't make sense anymore. So like that wasn't a business model. And I think if I was ultra wealthy, I would still have bought a lot of multifamily, but I wasn't wealthy. All my money was tied up in multifamily.
Yeah.
So I had virtually no money, right? Any kind of money I'd saved up from flipping or my W-2, I dumped into rentals. And then as that market kind of shifted, I was like, I need cash to live the day.
Yeah. So what was it like, building that portfolio up? Because, right, you're talking about your W-2 job, and we can go into that, like what you were doing. But, like, you were doing the thing, man. Like, so people were like, wait, you had 100 rentals? Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? So how did you even do that? What was the original plan?
Yeah, so it was 2018. I had just moved on from my landscaping company. Leela had worked for me then. And I started buying rentals. When I sell off all of my landscaping company, I started buying rentals. And I was just putting money into those. And then I was like, this is kind of cool. Because I was buying them and burning them. And you'd see the values go up 10, 15% when you increase rents, or 20% when
And these were all multi.
Yep, all duplexes through my biggest is an 18 unit.
Got it.
And so I was like, man, I'm going to continue this. And I wasn't making any money, but I was buying these rentals, putting them on good debt at the time. 2018, debt was 4.5%. And then just kept on going into that. And I got a W-2 job, selling new homes, making pretty good money. and I was living well below my means. Mortgage was $1,200.
So you had your own landscape company.
Yep.
What were you making when you were running that business?
The company, the last 2 or 3 years was between 2 and 3. 3.4 was 2018. What I was making is a different story. I was personally taking home around 60, 65.
Dang. How are you buying rentals?
Well, I sold all my equipment.
Oh.
So like to have a $3 million company, I had over $1 million in equipment that I was putting down payments on,
Got
which
it.
is why I was only able to pay myself 60.
Got it.
And equipment in Columbus, Ohio, you could get a cheaper rate. I was selling it all like to the East Coast where equipment was more expensive. And I was in a tier with like these, like think Cat, all these big construction companies and Ford, where I was getting a discount on stuff. I'd go find the solo operators who needed this equipment, but they didn't get the discounts. I'd sell it to them for cheaper than they could get it. So I made a little bit of money when I sold this equipment, and it just freed up cash. Because I was having to put 15-20% down on this stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and that market was great to sell construction equipment in 2018.
Why did you quit it? Like, it just because it wasn't making enough money, or?
It was one, money. 2, I wasn't a very good manager of people. And landscaping world, getting people who can lay bricks all day or shovel snow or mow grass all day, you have to be pretty good at managing people and recruiting people. And I wasn't. So I got people that I just didn't want to be around. Ex-drug addicts, things like that, people who didn't want to grow. It just wasn't what I wanted out of my life. And so one day I was like, I had hurt my back and nothing got done for like a week. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And so I literally started selling stuff like that week.
Selling all your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a plan, like what your next steps were?
I had no plan. The biggest plan, I had a big lease. I had like a 6-acre facility in a nice part of town that was like $15,000 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
I called that landlord. He let me out of that lease. And that was like the only, other than the equipment that I had to pay monthly, that was the only obligation. And so when he let me out of that lease, I was like, okay, I can sell all my equipment, pay off the loans. I have some cash, and bought 10 rental units within a couple months. And you hear people get rich off of rentals.
What was your first impression when you got the 10? You're like, dude, I'm going to be rich. And then you're like, wait.
A body showed up in the 4-unit next door to one of mine.
A body?
A body, like in the ditch.
Yeah.
And 2 tenants moved out. And so I was like, this fucking sucks. But
This ain't it.
I had the discipline to just keep doing it. I did it for another 2.5 years before I really realized that, hey, this is a great way to store cash and a great way for tax advantages. But I didn't really have a tax problem, so I wasn't really using it.
Yeah.
So when I realized that, that's when I took it to high-paying W-2 job. And when I lost that, I started flipping.
So what were you making with the high-paid W-2 job?
My last year, I was set to make over $300,000. So that was 2021.
And you're doing new home sales?
Yep, new home sales for a builder.
So you're doing that, buying some rentals,
Mm-hmm.
and then you lost your job. Why? Because of the rates and stuff, or what?
It was the day I started running TV ads to get my own, like, to buy rentals. So
You think they saw you doing your own thing?
rumor has it, the market president saw me on TV, and we were having a rough month, and they wanted to make an example of somebody. So
Weird.
I never got a true story.
So then what got you into wholesaling and flipping and stuff?
So I'd been studying flipping, and I'd ran out of money because I just bought 30 units and dumped. I had to raise money for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $600,000. So I put some of my own cash and then raised money. And I was like, I don't like raising money and relying on other people to come. And I was like, I don't think I've maxed my ability to earn. So I was like, what if I'd heard Tony Javier on a podcast. What if I just start marketing and finding these flips and start flipping? So it was never going to be wholesaling. It was always meant to be flipping.
So you thought about, you see ads and everything else. You start running them just by yourself.
Tony has this program. You pay him, I don't know if it's $1,000 a month, and he times them up with the stations and all these things. So it's pretty hands off for me.
Yeah. So you were just getting leads,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got the leads. You just started closing them yourself. One-man show?
One-man show, just closing deals. Fourth quarter of 21, I bought and sold 8 flips, made $300,000.
You were like, yeah, this is pretty good.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Market was hot. Don't get me wrong. A lot of that was luck, right? It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I knew how to buy the deals, but I was projecting 25, 30 grand profits on these $250,000 houses, and they turn into 50.
Yeah.
It was not uncommon.
I remember those days, man. They were good days.
I wish they'd come back.
I know. Those days are long gone right now. But, okay, so you do that. Then you're like, all right, well, but I'm going to start a construction company. How did the rest of the stuff start?
So I had started the construction company already to burr my rentals.
Got it.
So Leela was running that, and we were doing okay. But when you're doing rental turns and the market's hot, you don't need to be good at construction. Construction really got exposed to us in, 22, when the market started to shift and things had to be perfect and there were no inspections or anything prior. Once those started to come up, we realized how many little things our construction team missed.
Right.
Like, it was not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got exposed.
Yeah. And I think, it's interesting, right? Because a tough market will always kind of like expose things. And sometimes it's not even your fault, right? Like at the end of the day, right? Nobody could have expected that they're going to double rates and the market was going to do what it did. So like even a guy like me, I was holding 50 flips and like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like I bought them right at the time, but it just so happened that, they stalled and nobody wanted to buy. And then, your holding costs start to eat you up and then the prices drop and you're like, well, crap, dude.
What do we
It is
do?
what it is. And so, you got to start pivoting and doing different things. And so I started to wholesale way more. I sold off some rentals and like I was able to weather the storm. And it's like, I'm grateful to learn through that scenario because now, we're in a much stronger position today because, the business is just better.
Yep.
It's not built on just only having a good market.
Yeah.
So with you guys, another thing that I saw early on was that obviously like getting rid of like a lot of the different things was important, especially the construction, because that was like what was clearly causing the most headache.
Yep.
I think another interesting thing that I've seen with you is just how important you mentioned it earlier, but like just mental space is. Because I remember one conversation we had, you're like, dude, I got to like go through these books and, all these stuff like for your finances and stuff. And I'm like, why don't you just, get a bookkeeper to do that? And you're like, well, I don't know. And it was just like, that's going to cost you like, $3,000 and it's just going to be done. Cause maybe it was an audit or something. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah. It's with my child support case. So
yeah. And you were like stressing about this audit that needed to happen. And I'm like, bro, somebody can do that for like $3,000 and you're done.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but it's like so many people just, we think that we're the only one that can solve this problem.
Oh yeah. So like the best thing about working with you is being in the weeds. I can take a step back when we have our monthly meetups. Yeah. And I can show you what's going on, what I've been working on. And you'll point out, why are you doing this? Or why are we doing this? And it's like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Like you said, like most humans, I think that their problems are unique to them.
Yeah.
But what I've realized is my level 10 stress, like Ryan has a level 10 stress right now too.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter. It's level 10 to you.
Yeah.
It's hard. And all my employees have it. Everyone I've ever met has it. The difference is you and I can take a step back and realize that level 10 stress is going to go away. It's not going to kill me.
It's not forever.
So if it's not going to kill me, is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
It might take us a moment to get there.
Yeah.
And the better we get, I think the faster we get there. And so like, that's all I've been working on is getting there faster, realizing, hey, whatever I'm going through today in this moment isn't going to matter at some point.
Yeah. It's been inspiring for me. So like my assistant, Jonathan, he's going through cancer. He's got stage 4 cancer. And like, he literally just had brain surgery to remove cancer from his brain. And this dude is like posting on Instagram the next day, like all optimistic and
Super
happy
optimistic.
And just like being a light. And you're like, all right, that's level 10 stress.
Yeah. Worse than anything I've personally gone through.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And he's like totally just leaving it up to God and he's all good. And, we're tripping because of some whatever problem. It could be a $3,000 problem, a $10,000 problem. It's like, dude, it feels like the end of the world. You get a buyer who backs out of a deal. It feels like the end of the world. And you're just like, what do you do?
Just move forward.
Yeah. It's like, that's life.
Yep.
I think another thing that happens too is the more you do, the more that you just start to realize that, you know, it's just you always going to have these problems. Like that's just comes with volume.
Yep.
You know, if you have 100 deals going on at once, how many are going to break? A lot. So if you have 20 breaking at any moment, you're like, oh, freaking whatever, another one broke. But if you have one deal going on and it breaks, it's the end of the world.
Yep. Your stress tolerance is pretty low when there's only one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Just the more experiences you have and the more, you know, drama you get through, the more it just doesn't phase you as you just keep encountering it.
Yeah. Like I think you just posted you were getting IRS audit.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that sounds fucking awful. But I was like, how's Ryan handling this? I'm like, he's probably just like, did I do anything wrong? No. What do I got to worry about?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to do some work to figure this out.
Yep.
I'll answer any questions they have of me, but
Yep.
outside of that,
What am I going to do? What is there to stress about?
yeah, right. And then two, you know, you're in the good, right?
Yeah. I would hope so. You know, I had a tax firm. So,
Yeah.
you know, I had, and it's funny because we had, you know, whatever, we got the letter and I'm like, am I being audited? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, here's the letter. You guys take care of it.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then like a month before, or not a month before, but like a couple of days before like this meeting, they're like, hey, Ryan, you know, it's in your calendar, but you're going to have to go to this IRS meeting with the auditor and do whatever. And we're all going to go. And we already have all the paperwork done. Like, so we have everything they asked for. I'm like, so what do I need to do? They're like, I don't know. Just if they have questions, then I guess you would
They
just
wanna
tell.
talk to you.
Well, I don't even know what they're going to ask. I'm like, I'm just going to defer to them. And so to my accountant and to my sister. And then my sister calls me and she's like, hey, we just found out because we have power of attorney, you don't even have to come. And I was like, dude, great.
Sweet.
So I'm like, I'm not going to go. What's the point? I was just going to defer to you guys anyway.
Yeah. You guys are the experts.
Yeah. Like
There's a reason I hired you.
Yeah. You guys have all the papers and whatever. I don't know every little detail of what they did. So then they went and it was like a 3-hour meeting. They answered all the questions, gave them all the paperwork, and it was all square. They were like, oh yeah, it was like actually pretty simple. And we could explain every little thing they asked a question about and it was all good.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Bet that felt good.
Well, you know what was crazy? And I don't want to like say this in a way that's like to make me seem like something, but the main reason of a lot of their questions was around donations. And they were like wanting to see like the proof of every donation I made.
Oh.
And most of it is to, you know, my churches and, you know, a lot of Christian things. And it was just weird that was the main thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people probably use donations as a way.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably
They're
doing
not making donations or
in the right thing.
yeah.
So, but everything is right there. It's like, no, like there's the church. They got the money. There it is. And they're like, okay. So it's kind of weird. And you know what's dumb too is like we submit those things. Like we have the records because anytime you donate, like you get a thing.
Yeah, and you would think the church submits something or
Yeah,
whoever
they
you
do
donate
too.
to.
Yeah.
So like it should be.
They just they balance out. So that's why I'm like, whatever. I'm not worried about it. So that was good. But yeah, it's like you deal with a lawsuit, you deal with a tenant, you deal with an employee talking crap, you deal with firing somebody, you deal with losing somebody that you didn't want to lose.
Yep.
You know, that happens.
Yeah, the problems keep coming.
Yeah, like you're like, well, okay. You deal with an event, you deal with the TV not working on a podcast, you deal with like, it's just whatever. Some people just get so flustered by every little thing.
Most people do.
I know. But that's why they end up, you know, at very just, I guess, low levels.
Yeah, very staging of life.
So what would you say, you know, for you? I mean, obviously you've made so much progress. I think your life is way simpler today.
Much simpler.
You know, it's like you're mainly wholesaling. Do you still do the multifamily stuff or what's going on there?
We're just starting to pick that up because we have consistent cash flow coming in.
Yeah.
And so we're putting a lot of money into the business, but we're at that point where we now have money left over after we put it back into the business.
Yeah.
And a tax problem coming up.
Yep.
Right. So wanted to defer paying taxes. So rentals are a great way to do that.
Yep. So you're going to still buy the multifamily and then predominantly wholesale.
Yep.
And what markets are you in now?
So we're just in Ohio. So Columbus and Cleveland's where we focus. We're trying to go to another market or two, but our biggest problem is salespeople. So
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because we've, I feel like a lot of our conversations have been around management and leadership and stuff. And, you know, at first you were talking about, for you specifically, like, hey, what's the thing that you get the most, you know, ROI on for your daily activities? And we kind of uncovered that it was dispo.
Yep.
You know, because you had hired a dispo guy, you knew he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. Even though he was selling some, you're like, bro, he could have sold that for double. He could have, you know, he says this deal's unsellable. I'll go call for a couple of hours and go get 10K out of it. And you're like, well, yeah, you know, 1 hour of time to go make 10K. That's a good return.
Great return.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like uncovering that, because your sales guys were good at locking up deals.
Yep.
And it's like, you got really good sales acquisitions guys.
Yeah, my act guys have been pretty consistent.
Yeah. And then it's just finding more of those guys and then training you know, your dispo replacement.
Yep. Yes, we're working on training that dispo replacement now.
Okay.
And then the next thing is building out a system, a hiring process for bringing in more act guys, because we have a leads problem, meaning we have too many qualified leads coming in, where most companies, I think, have a problem finding enough qualified leads.
Yep.
We don't have that problem. My sales guys are inundated with new leads.
Yeah.
And good leads. And so now I need to figure out a system to continue to bring in
More
qualified sales guys, so that, because I can just go add more leads.
Yeah. How much are you guys spending a month on marketing?
So first quarter of this year, we averaged just under 85,000. It was 84 and some change a month.
Okay. So 85K a month. And, you know, that produces,
We're just under 300K a month in just assignments.
yeah. So, you know, about a 4X. And, I mean, that's great. And I tell people this all the time. They're like, so what kind of return should I get? Should I get like a 5X or a 10X? And I'm like, yeah, you know, if you're doing one deal, two deals, you can go get a 5X, 10X, and like, it's all good. You know, cold call text, you could go get an infinite X.
Yeah.
You know, but if you want to build a business and you want to scale your marketing and everything else, you're going to have to pretty much start doing more inbound type marketing that's going to be more expensive, and, you know, all these things. And I mean, for TV, for years, I was getting 3 to 4X, and like, I was cool. I'm like, bro, spend 50 to 100, go make, you know, 200, 300, 400, and just like, that's cool. Like,
TV recently for us has been really up and down.
yeah.
It's been 4X, and then it's been 1.7X.
Yeah. That's why I've really transitioned off of it.
Yeah. Getting pretty nervous with the election too.
Oh, bro,
We're not gonna
TV's
be
about
able
to cost a
Yeah.
boatload.
I'm not going to be able to keep up with that. I'm very confident in that.
No.
So,
I mean, it will. I mean, yeah. So there's basically like one more quarter.
yeah. I think, Q2 is the last we can rely on TV.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting with just marketing in general, because I've been doing direct to seller marketing since 2018. And so I was there when cold calling and texting, like nobody was doing it.
Yeah, it was the hottest thing
And
ever.
I was like, bro,
It was amazing.
This is killing it. And then, you know, everyone starts doing, and then now today, like, I mean, you could still have success with cold calling and texting, but it's like, if you never knew what the good old days were.
yeah, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Yeah. But it's still great for anyone starting out. But now it's like, man, there's so much regulation and red tape, and, you know, sellers are getting called like a lot. So
A ton.
And then, you know, you start talking about these different things. So it's like, when I got on TV in 2020, it was interesting because everyone was like, bro, why are you getting on TV? I'm like, I don't know, man. It seems like a great opportunity. Nobody's on TV. They think it sucks. And then, you know, sure enough, I used it for 4 years. I didn't change my TV commercial once.
Yeah, we've changed it once,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's great. And now I'm really all in on just social media ads and stuff. And, you know, for me anyways, I make ads for a living. So like, it's no big deal for me.
You know it better than anyone else.
Yeah. Like I'll freaking, and you know, the crappy thing is with Facebook ads, unlike TV, is I do need to update the ads all the time because they just get worn out so quick. Whereas TV, I literally didn't have to ever update it.
Yeah, you shot that commercial and you were done.
I was done. So there is the crappy part about that, but obviously it's worth it. Like our returns, you know, I can already see are going to be way higher.
You have more control over it too.
Yeah. A lot more control, cheaper leads. They're still inbound. They're still
you know
hot.
who's seeing it too.
Yep. You know,
Whereas
seeing
TV,
it.
you really don't.
Well, and like I can go pick markets instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas TV, I'm like, I got to go find these broadcaster. Like, there's a lot.
And depending on how much revenue they have coming in,
Yeah,
it's going to control a lot.
there's a lot. So, it's exciting on that front. But moral of the story is you got to always watch your marketing because
Yes.
it's just always fluctuating.
It is.
What have you seen like for you that's been the sources that you focused on?
So TV, radio, PPC, and Facebook, they all have their ups and downs.
Yeah.
PPC's probably been our most consistent as long as we're getting to those leads within 60 seconds. There's been times where we don't get that and for a consistent month, and then we see that
It goes down just because of 60 seconds.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's significant. And we've also found you can call too fast. We have a 2-form lead fill. So the first form is just their name and the address. That's it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. And I don't know the exact conversion rate, but our conversion rate's really high that they go to the second one.
Yeah.
If we call them before they submit the second one, they're kind of freaked out. And so we've learned to let that first one come in, let it sit for 15, 30 seconds so they get majority of the way through that second one.
Yeah.
And normally it's the second we see that second one, we call instantly. And that's really helped us personally.
Yeah. That's good. One thing I'm testing like different opt-ins for this because I've done this on the education side and other businesses. But I put a VSL. For those who don't know, it's a video sales letter. Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen anyone do this in home buying. Mm-hmm. But like it's me just like in one of my education things like, hey, this is Ryan Pineda. Just so you guys know, this is how the process works. It's so easy. At the end of the day, just submit your stuff right here down below. My team's going to reach out to you with your cash offer in 24 hours. It's going to be the most easy, low stress deal you have ever done.
Where are they seeing that VSL after?
They're going to see my ad.
Uh-huh.
They're going to click, and then the opt-in form with their address and all that has the video too.
So they're filling that out, and there's this video of you saying those
The
things.
video's before the form. So like
gotcha.
they watch it first and like, oh, okay, that's pretty easy. And then they fill out.
So
It doubled our conversions.
So I want to start doing stuff like that the second they fill it out.
Yep.
They get a text with a video of me.
Yep.
Hey, here's the process. Here's where we're going to call you. Here's a link to book if you want to book something right away.
Yep.
If you got a busy schedule or whatever. So we want to start testing some more of those things out as well.
Yep. It works. And I learned all those things from, doing the education and events and all this other stuff because most real estate investors are kind of like dinosaurs.
They're terrible at business.
Oh, yeah.
They might be good at sales, but that's typically it.
Yeah.
They don't understand business. They don't understand follow-up. They don't understand thinking like their customer thinks and how communicating the way their customer wants to be communicated. Mm-hmm. So like, I think the barrier is pretty low.
Oh, yeah. Well, like in a normal business, this is why I both love real estate and why I also like get bored with it.
Yeah.
Because in a normal business, you create your product/offer. So like, we're here this week for WealthCon. WealthCon is this product I created out of my mind. I was like, dude, I want to have an event where I get these kinds of people. It has this kind of environment, this kind of vibe. We have networking and parties, but we also have a worship service. We have like, you can't go find that. It's just straight from my brain. And then like, I'm like, this is the branding. These are the colors. So that's just super creative.
Yeah, your
right?
branding on WealthCon is amazing.
Thank you.
I love it.
So it's like, it's all this stuff, right? On the real estate side of things, literally there's no creativity.
None.
It's like
Copy and paste.
cash offer for your home. Click here. Like everyone has the same product. There's no differentiation. And it worked. Don't get me wrong. It works. Like you do it, our students do it. Like it's all good.
Yeah, once we get to the 8 figures in revenue and wholesaling, I think we're going to change it. We want to change like the word tactics, everything. And I'll probably start in a different market with that.
Yeah.
And see how it does. But I agree with you. I'm like McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, all serve fast food.
Yeah.
But none of their messages are the same.
No.
And so it's like, that's what I'm going to have to do to get to the next level.
So, I some people don't know this because it's like, I'm not like super public about it, but like, so, I started running ads for some of our all-star students, right? And I made that a totally different brand. I'm not going to say what the brand is here because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like I'm running this different brand nationwide and that's like that marketing. And so it's different than Home Run Offer, which is I'm buying the house,
Yep.
the other brand. And it's funny because people DM me, they're like, Ryan, is this company ripping your name off? Because they see my ads in their market. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's all good. But I'm creating this brand, and basically the brand is like, sophisticated and nice. And it's like, hey, this is the simplest way to sell your house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's the fastest. I'm not saying it's the best offer. I'm not saying that, it's whatever gimmick. I'm like, look, this is the easiest, simplest way to sell your home.
Yep.
It's better than a realtor. It's better than these freaking other guys.
For these reasons.
Yep. And then I'm going to add video. I'm going to add all the things that we do on the education side with brand and copywriting and, all this stuff that just real estate investors don't know how to do.
Yeah. I think every real estate investor, like we talked about, has fast, fair cash offer. Mm-hmm. Most wholesalers aren't fast.
Yeah.
What define fair? Because if there's 6 of us competing on it, we all offer different offers. So which one's fair? There could be a $50K spread, right, on a $200,000 house.
Yeah.
How do you determine fair?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think we need to change our marketing and niche down, because there are times I am fast, but my offer probably isn't the fairest offer.
No.
It's a guarantee, right? I don't know what's wrong with the house. I can't see what's in the house. If I know the neighborhood, I'm going to look at everything that could possibly go wrong in that house. I'm going to budget for it.
Yeah.
Right. Unless I fully trust what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Not a good choice.
That's fair to me, right?
Yeah.
Is it fair to you? I don't know. That's
why I don't say it's fair.
Yeah. No, I agree. But we're all saying that.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to go.
And in most cases, it's not fast.
Mm-hmm. Very rarely is it fast.
Yeah.
Because so many issues come up.
Yeah. Well, and what I found too is a lot of sellers don't even want it to be fast.
No, because they want time to go find the next situation.
Yeah, they just want certainty that they're going to get this price and it's going to close.
That is what I think most sellers want, is certainty.
Yes.
So I literally just want to run an ad. We're going to do it in a different market.
This is the certain way to sell your home.
Yeah. If I give you a number and we agree on the number, everything you tell me is true, it's done.
So I'll tell you how I figure this out from a branding and marketing perspective. Because now we're talking about product and offer, which is super important for normal everyday businesses. So it's once again, WealthCon, I got to clearly explain what the heck this is and create this whole thing around it. With the cash offer, it's just so generic that people just don't really spend. It's like, bro, I'm giving you a cash offer. It's quick, it's easy, it's whatever, right? But I started to ask my sales team when I was creating this new brand. And I was like, okay, so guys, what is your feedback from these sellers? Why do they go with us? Because in my mind, I might think that it's the cash. I might think it's the fast. I might think it's the, as is part of it, right? I go, what do most of these sellers have a problem with? And so I was pulling my team and they were like, like you said, most the deals don't actually close that quick. And not because we can't close quick.
No,
mainly them.
Yeah.
So it's not speed, even though we think it's speed. Sure, it could be as is, and that's part of it.
Happens.
And I was like, but what else? And they're like, honestly, most of these people just don't like realtors.
They don't trust it. So it's certainty and trust.
Yeah.
Realtors all the time, they'll give them a 6-month contract and they're like, what if it doesn't sell? Well, in 6 months, you can go find a different solution. Great answer for someone who is 30 days behind on their mortgage.
Yeah.
And they're probably okay going another 30, 60, 90 days at that point, right? But they want out sooner than later.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose the house.
I need to know that I'm not going to lose my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I will trade money for certainty. Yep. And this is what I came to the conclusion on. So I started pulling them what's the deal? Dude, they honestly just don't want to deal with realtors.
Yep.
Right. And, when I explained to somebody a novation or a net listing, they're like, so wait, explain how that goes again. I'm like, okay, so we just tell the seller, this is the guaranteed price you're going to get.
Yep.
You're getting $400,000. Anything we sell above that, we get. So if we list it for $480,000 and it sells, we're going to, cover all the closing costs and realtor fees and the repairs and all this crap, but we make whatever that spread is. You're good with that. And they're like, yeah. You know why? They want certainty.
Yep.
They want to know for sure they're getting $400,000.
And a lot of times they don't have the money to fix something up.
Yeah.
or the resources to find the person who will actually fix it up.
Well, and also back to what we were even talking about with you, stress.
Yep.
They do not want to deal with the stress of like the negotiation, the freaking buyers backing out, the problems.
Yeah, what we talked about, the ability to handle problems, they don't have that ability.
Yeah.
They don't have that coach like I have in you to go to and say, hey, here's what's going on in life. Walk me through this. And you're like, dude, take a step back. You know what I mean? They don't have that in their life. Not a trusted source anyway.
No. So they really want certain, because people will be like, why would a seller do that? Why wouldn't they just list it themselves? And I'm like, dude, you don't understand how humans operate.
Realtors all the time. I'd never understand. And then they'll go try to sell their house for 50 grand over, and it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's just how it is.
You could sell hope all day.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't pay any bills, doesn't solve any problems. And there are no guarantees right now. This isn't 2020 anymore.
Yeah. Like, but you can guarantee if the price is right? We're like, yo, at this price, I can assure you, you're going to get this.
Yeah.
And you know why? And you know what this made me think about? And I used this analogy one time a couple of years ago. I was like, guys, why do you buy an insurance policy? It's a guarantee that if the worst case happens, you're still going to get this. And
It's so true.
that's exactly what happens with these offers, where they're so like thinking about worst case or whatever. That's like, I will sacrifice upside to ensure I'm going to get this. That's the choice they're making.
Yeah. That really hit hard because I was just looking at what I'm paying in insurance.
Yeah, that's a lot, dude.
And I haven't had an insurance claim in like
Bro,
5 years.
You've paid hundreds of thousands in insurance, and it has not panned out for you.
No, I've had one insurance claim it was a flood for like 40,000, I think.
But it ain't hundreds of
No,
thousands.
yeah, I'm paying across all my rentals, autos, everything flips. Like, we're 20 grand a month.
Easily.
Yeah, well into that.
Yeah, and you've paid it for years.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, you're $1 million in insurance, and it saved you 40 grand.
The numbers don't add up
Dude.
right now.
That's why insurance is like the biggest business in the world.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett ain't no dummy.
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting on like 40 billion cash. And the reason people are like, why hasn't he invested? Well, a lot of times he can't, because
He's
he
got to be
has
able to pay out.
yeah,
Stuff goes bad.
If things do hit the fan, he needs to have liquidity to pay it out. But he knows it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
They're just keep paying freaking Berkshire, and he's all square.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've thought about different industries a lot, and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. People pay for certainty,
Yeah.
even though the odds of it happening are extremely low.
Yeah. I mean, I use the auto example all the time with our sellers. You can literally, the dealership's going to take your car and sell it for 15 to 20% more tomorrow
Yeah,
and do nothing to the car. Wash it.
yeah,
Spend $100.
yep. But they're just they have the ability to market it.
Yeah, yeah.
They have the ability to
They
get
people
people
walk
loans.
in their door every day.
Yep, and they'll wait. They'll wait to sell it.
Yeah.
You want to go right now, dude. I am the worst when it comes to buying cars. I've switched cars like every 6 months, and
Yeah,
I
heard
lose
you
money.
got rid of the Hummer already.
I already got rid of them. Like I freaking make such bad car decisions. Hopefully the Cybertruck comes so I can flip it and like get back.
Get back to even.
Yeah, recoup some losses. But yeah, I suck with cars, so don't ever listen to me when it comes to that. But the point is, I have sold my car back to a wholesaler every single time
For convenience.
for convenience. Like the wholesaler was always willing to give me like the simplest deal.
Yeah.
Like I could have sold it private party and waited and tried
Yeah.
to get an extra 5 grand, 10 grand, whatever.
Yeah, he's saying, hey, I'll give you 75. And when you show up with the keys, he's not coming down to 65.
Yeah.
It's 75. The
Yeah.
check's there.
Yeah.
Done.
Every
Sign
single
here.
time. And he's like, I'll pick it up literally. You want it picked up today?
I'll send my driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making it easy for you.
So simple. That's
yeah.
why people sell us their house. It's the same crap.
Yeah. And I think if we did a better job of branding it,
Yeah.
you could double down on it.
And that's why I figure for me, I'm like, I wrote it in my memo to our company. I stole from Warren Buffett on this too. I decided to start writing an annual letter.
Yeah. I'm reading Good to Great.
Yep.
And what's the next one after that?
I forgot, but it's Jim Collins.
Yeah, it's all of his books. I'm reading that in memo. I'm like, that's I'm reading that while I'm here in Vegas this week.
Okay.
And so I'm starting to implement some of those things. So a memo is one of those things that I need to knock out.
Yeah. But like, he's been writing his annual letter for, however many years. So I wrote my first one this year. And I literally said that with Home Run Offer. I go, hey, we are not the fastest. We are not the highest price. We are not the whatever. I'm like, we are the simplest way to sell your home.
The other thing too, I think that they really value is customer service on the back end. Mm-hmm. If you can bring the best customer service, once that contract's locked up, whatever goes wrong or however long it takes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Even if you have to renegotiate.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if you communicate. And that's what we're really, like I brought my TC here. Hopefully there's someone here who's going to talk about customer service and experience and all of those things.
Yeah.
So she can really learn that. Because I think if we can master that, a lot of problems go away.
Yeah.
Because it's the ease of use.
Well, and like it goes back to that builds trust, right?
Yeah.
So like, trust me, there will be problems throughout the transaction.
Always.
And it's like, hey, so look, this thing just happened. It looks like, whatever, closing's going to have to get delayed a couple of weeks, and because
Your
of
buyer
XYZ, yeah, whatever the reason is, right?
The reason.
But it's all good. We have a replacement. It's going to be done in 2 weeks. We've been keeping you up to date every week thereafter. This isn't going to cause any problems for you, right? Everything's good. All right, cool, awesome. And they're like, all right, whatever. It's funny because I was speaking at an event before WealthCon, so I was on Portland on Monday. And I was talking to realtors, and like for me, I just make fun of it because like I used to be a realtor, freaking hated it. I talk crap about realtors all the time. I'm like, so wait, you guys want me to speak to you? Are you sure, right? You want me? Like, because it's me and Ryan Serhant.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's pro, loves everything about realtors. I always talk about just freaking, I don't not like realtors. I'm just like, why don't you guys invest?
Yeah, do something.
Yeah, like I'm like, quit trying to get listings and go try to buy it. That's just how my mind works. You'll make way more money trying to buy it. So, anyways, they're dealing with like this whole NAR thing.
Yeah.
And commissions, and they're all freaking out. And I'm like, hey, who here is a little worried about what's happening with NAR and commissions? Everybody's like, freaking out. And I'm like, okay, here's what I want you guys to know. Okay. Right now, you guys are like brainstorming about all the worst case scenarios that could happen. Yeah. Has anything changed right now? No, nothing's changed right now. And you know what? It actually still might not ever change. It's like not set in stone. It might go into effect that date. And I go, here's the other thing. You guys are like tripping out about what to tell your buyers and your sellers and all this crap right now. I go, you know how many buyers and sellers are even aware of this?
Very few.
None. And I go, when you're trying to service a customer, this was about customer service and content and everything I was actually talking about. I'm like, you don't bring your problems on them.
All realtors bring their problems and projections to all of their customers.
I know.
Every single time.
Yeah. I'm like, your customer does not give a crap about what's happening with NAR.
No.
Okay.
They don't care how you get paid.
They just want their freaking home sold.
Yep.
And nothing has changed right now. Go sell their home.
And it may not,
it may not change.
My understanding of the NAR too is that it just sellers don't have to pay for it. Sellers have never had to fully pay for it. Everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
And always has been.
Yeah. And they still may find that they're going to end up paying for it because that's what helps their house get sold.
Because most buyers can't afford to pay the realtor otherwise.
No.
And so you're right. If that's what gets the household, that's what you're going to pay.
I sell a lot of houses of my own.
You pay realtors.
I have no problem paying the buyer's agent if they bring me a buyer, right?
I wholesale. I will pay an agent. I've paid an agent 10%.
Yeah.
They bought me a retail buyer. And I was like, yeah, I thought I was going to find a buyer at 80%. You bought someone at 98%. I'm going to pay you a little bit more. Thank you. Bring me another one.
Yeah, let's do another one.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Like I want them to know that when there's the margin, they're going to make some of that money.
Yeah. What's funny is, so one of my all-stars, Dakota, he's been in the program for like 4 years, and he's out in Fort Wayne. They do over 100 deals a year. And, with my nationwide marketing, we actually got one in Fort Wayne. So who did I call? I'm like, what up, Dakota? We wholesaled it to him for $10K, right? Now, there was a lot of drama with the deal, which is it wasn't either of our faults. Somebody else tried to steal the deal and all this bull crap. The seller tried to sign a contract with somebody else, and the guy was being a douche, not trying to back out. because like he knew we had a contract and he still was like,
Yeah, the integrity of
yeah. And I'm
some of our
like, bro,
competition.
I don't play those games, dude. Like I'm going to sue you.
No, seriously, that's
Yeah.
what I do too.
Yeah. Like,
Don't
and
care.
also too, I don't know if you know who you're messing with, but I'm about to blow you up too on social media and whoever
People are
else.
gonna know who you are.
Yeah. Like, so I'm not here to play those games. I don't know what you guys do in Fort Wayne, but we're buying this house and we're going to sell it. So anyways, he ended up backing out and it was fine. But Dakota, you know, like, and Dakota and I have done lots of stuff together, but he was like, bro, you know, I told my TC, like, you know, we should have handled this better and all this stuff because we want to have great customer service for you guys so that you keep selling to us and you want to keep marketing. And he's like, I love that you're marketing in Fort Wayne. Sell to us.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not worried about competition. Sell to us. We want more deals.
No, if you can, there's plenty of good players out there, and the good players work together.
Yeah.
So Tiffany and Josh Hire in my market,
Yep.
I wholesale a ton to them. They'll call me and be like, hey, this seller doesn't want to work for us for XYZ. Can you call them? We'll call them, get it locked up, and wholesale it right back to
Go
them.
hook it up.
Because it's a win-win for both of us, and we know at the end of the day we're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And so as long as the company that's trying to do the right thing is getting more deals, this industry is going to rise.
Yeah.
And we don't want the regulation to come down and hammer us harder than it has to.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get new people who are like, well, did you hear about like this state can't wholesale? And they're saying you
Who
might
cares?
have. I'm like, are you in that? Are you even in that state?
You know what they can't stop me from doing? Buying the house
Yeah.
and selling the house.
I can double close it.
All it means is if I could buy it at 80%, I'm going to buy it at 70.
Yeah.
If I could buy it at 70, it's 60%. The sellers are the ones who get hurt
Yeah.
in these situations. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. There are some bad apples that need weeded out, and I don't know how to do that personally, but
Yeah. I don't worry about what anyone else is doing. It's hard enough to focus on yourself and run your own business, let alone worry about what the government or some private organization is doing.
yep, and they're going to change all the time.
Yeah. So what do you see as like your biggest thing you got to do going forward to reach that next level?
So my biggest problem is probably me developing more leadership skills, building out systems and processes a little bit deeper. I think the biggest thing is I've started to build a brand as someone who's buying real estate in Columbus, Ohio. So I need to replace myself out of the sales management role in the dispo side completely. That's my Q2 goal, is to identify those people and then really focus on training them Q3 and Q4. Because when I can just jump on social media, post, I get realtors calling me and I'll go get a deal or two that way organically. I'm like, man, if I could do that 15, 20 hours a week, I think I could find another $100,000 plus revenue a month for us.
And it's all net. No
yeah,
marketing.
no margin, right?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, 100% margin. Because I'm not spending anything
Yep.
other than the content that I'm pushing out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, that's my big thing I need to work on. And I think conservatively it's $100,000.
Oh, easily.
Like I did 2 deals last month. One will be 60 and the other one will be about 30. And I didn't spend any time. It just, the 2 realtors that reached out to me, I knew who they were. Like
Yeah.
normally I'd skip over realtors. Because you got to educate them before they're trying to sell you on this deal. I'm like, if it's so good, you wouldn't be calling me. Like,
Why can't you sell this thing?
yeah. You're calling me because you don't know how to sell to anyone else. And I need to teach you how to sell the seller on the right price. And so I'm like, if I could do more of that, I literally think I could add, I was just telling Tiffany and Josh, I think I could add another 3 million in revenue a year if that's all I focused on. And so need to build out the process and systems to bring in more salespeople, but then I need to find that sales leader.
Yeah.
we're
Well,
working
and
on
what's
to find
amazing,
people.
you guys are doing a ton with a small team.
Yeah.
Like how big is the team?
So people actually doing the deals, 2 act guys and 1 dispo guy. And we're sitting right around 300K a month.
And you're doing dispo, some act, like a little bit of everything.
Yep, I'm in the trenches with the team for sure. And then we got a TC.
Then you got your TC. And then who else?
We have Leela and Morgan. Morgan's just working on our operations as far as hiring. Right now, that's all she's doing. And she manages
she's trying to find more salespeople.
Yep, and she manages my content team. And then Leela manages TC. She helps me with AC as far as like managing them and KPI tracking, all of those things. And then she manages our property manager as well.
And then how many units do you guys still have today?
We just sold a couple more off, so we're down to 82.
Yeah. Still a lot of units, dude.
Yeah, we're getting rid of anything that's old.
Yeah.
People are buying them. And I'm like, the sewer's going to go bad on this at some point.
What are your honest thoughts now as a landlord of 82?
So what I will say is I've sold a couple that I've owned for 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
and they've doubled in value,
Yeah. So it's made you a nice chunk.
and that's more money than I've ever made.
Yeah.
Like when you look at, you buy a house or a duplex for $200,000 and you sell it for 400, 5 years later, you're like, oh shit.
That's better than a flip.
Yeah. And it's taxed at a,
Way lower rate.
yep. And so I'm like, okay, I want to do more of this, but I want to have the systems but I don't want to stop living today. Like personally, I want more things. I want more opportunities. I want to get around more people. And so that's why I'm not giving up on the wholesale thing, but I don't want to deal with the day to day. And so when we start buying again, we're going to buy nicer assets. Follow, I think it's Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, all those guys that have a B behind their net worth.
Yeah.
They're all like, hey, just buy the nicer assets and figure out when they have a bad month, how to handle that cash flow problem that you're going to have.
Yep. Well, that's why you need the active income.
Yep.
Always coming
You'll
in.
be a lot wealthier.
Yeah.
And so I think if I can find that sales manager, that will help me get to that next step and be able to produce more active income.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, look, the name of the game is first for anyone listening. We have this misconception that we got to go build our passive income and our
It's
stuff right.
such a terrible model to follow if you don't make any money
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you will be scraping by, stressed out.
forever,
Yeah.
because you're going to be the distressed seller at some point if that's your
Yeah. Because you can't withstand a storm.
no. And storms happen.
Yeah. Vacancies, repairs, because you don't have enough money coming in.
Yep.
So I always teach, I'm like, guys, let's worry about active income first. Okay. If you don't have a good active income in your job, fantastic. We're going to teach you how to flip and wholesale.
Yep.
Right. If you do have a great W-2 like you did, cool. Like you can start buying some rentals and that's dope. Let's buy good deals.
Yep.
Let's learn how to burr. Let's find the best of the best deals. And if you just follow that model and you get better at active income and that keeps rising, that allows you to buy more assets. And then you look up 5 years later, you're like, dang, dude, my portfolio doubled in value.
Yep.
And, oh crap, there's a storm. All of a sudden the rates doubled and like we're in a recession. I need to sell off some assets to withstand the storm. Oh, cool. I'm glad I had those.
Yep.
That's
It's been
literally
huge
what
for
I
us.
did. And that's literally my plan all the time. It's just like, let's keep getting more active income. And right now, like you, it just has not made sense to buy rentals in the last year, and it's all good.
I'm super happy about it, actually.
I'm gonna be around a long time. I don't need to stack rentals every year.
No.
I can go on spurts and sprees. Like there's people just kind of get this weird thing in their mind that they're falling behind if they don't like do a certain thing they said they're gonna do. It's like you can't control if things change.
Well, I think they're always trying to compare to other people.
Yeah.
And what I went through in life and what you went through in life are two different things.
Yeah.
So we're going to have two different paths, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you're working a W-2 job, you know, building this big portfolio while you're doing it. Like, that's crazy.
It was a lot of work.
I've never done that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, dude, that's impressive to do it that way, to find deal. Like, how were you finding deals while you were still working a job? Like, that's impressive.
Wholesalers.
Okay.
They were wholesaling me these deals, and they're getting like 20, 30K assignments. I'm like, man,
How do I do that?
yeah, that's exactly why I went off market. Because I was like, I was just a sales guy. I was like, these wholesalers suck at sales. Like, I can talk them down all the time. And I was willing to always pay more. So I'm like, if they could do this, I could do this too. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, what's the best way to get hot leads, qualified leads? Because I didn't want to leave my W-2 job. My goal wasn't to leave my W-2 job till I had over 500 rentals. Because
Dang.
they weren't cash flowing.
I know.
Like,
You wanted some safety.
yeah. Like, I was having to live off of a $1,200 mortgage, make it $300,000 a year, no truck payment. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't, like, the rentals weren't going to pay for that if something went wrong.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, your honest opinion as a landlord with a lot of units, because people would be like, dude, this dude is making so much cash flow.
Yeah, if I sold them all today, life would be great. Like, I would have a decent bank account. But I think it was November of 2 years ago, 18 HVACs went the first cold street.
Well, I also, too, when you're in like a tough climate,
Yeah.
like Ohio, bro, your repairs are way more than in Vegas.
Yeah, we're that HVAC, that heat doesn't run for 7 months or whatever, then you all turn them on, they go bad.
Yeah.
And then same with the AC.
The roofs, the
Yeah.
snow, the shelter.
Yeah, all those things. So we have tornadoes Granted, none of it's hit any of mine, thank God.
Yeah.
But I know people are getting crushed right now. And insurance doesn't pay out tomorrow either.
I was about to say, well, and also I was going to say, a lot of times too, the insurance is going to try and figure out how to not
pay you. They're going to fight you.
Yeah.
Like I totaled a vehicle 10 years ago. If I was in a position where I needed the money, I'd have been hosed. I fought them on it. They were at 12 grand originally. And 100 days later, we agreed after lawyers got involved, we agreed at 27,000.
Right.
And like, if I needed that like money to go buy my next vehicle, you'd be in a pinch.
You would have had to take it.
Yeah. I would have been hosed.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize that.
Mm.
And so that's the rental game. Like, I think things are always going to go wrong. Tenants are going to move out. Tenants are going to complain. They're going to want things fixed. And if you're not in a position to make a big repair cost and you're like, oh, I have insurance, I'll be good. No.
It may not pay out.
Not fast enough. I think it will pay out, but
yeah,
not fast enough.
So how important is it? Because, I mean, like, dude, you're a visionary sales guy, very much like me. How important is it to have someone like Leela just doing what she's doing?
So Leela's worked for me for 10 years. My grandparents know her pretty well. They raised me. And all the time, my grandparents would be like, man, what would you do without Leela? I'm like, well, hopefully I would have found a different one. It's like always the first answer. But if I didn't, I was like, I'd probably be living with you guys. Like, because I'd move too fast and not do any like back end support that like I wouldn't build the rungs behind me.
Yeah.
And I just fall down, right? Like,
yeah.
I think that's what you see with a lot of business owners or like salespeople is they don't have anyone to support them or build the ladder behind them. So they'll just keep climbing and taking the piece and there's no one there to build behind them.
Yeah.
Where I have Leela to build behind me. So when something falls, don't get me wrong, I fall. Like, it's not always up and up.
Yeah.
Like, it is not always that way. I do fall, but instead of falling 30 rungs, say I'm on rung 30, I'm falling 3 or 4. It hurts for someone like me who's a visionary who wants to continue to grow, and I imagine you can understand that and you feel that same way. But I can fall back to a place where it's easily fixable. I'm not going to zero. And it's because of someone like her, and very grateful for her.
Yeah.
I talk about leadership and management is what I need to work on. If you ask her how much of a great leader is Michael is today, she'd say I'm 1,000,000% better than when we met 10 years ago. And it's because that's where I started. Like when she started working with me, I was 21.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. You know what I mean? I was an angry kid going through life, thought life happened to me. You know what I mean? Didn't realize how much of life I controlled at that point.
Yeah.
And she's just seen this, but she also sees where I want to go. And she knows I'm going to grow another 1,000,000% over the next decade.
Yeah. And so she's, 100% on board to, pick up all the pieces behind you.
Yeah. She works her tail off for that. And she benefits from that. She deposits into me all the time because she knows every rung that I go up. And once we've established this is my new bottom, she then rises 2 or 3 rungs.
Yeah.
It may not be instant, but it's a big payday. Maybe it's a new vehicle for her. Maybe it's a lump sum payday, or a lifestyle change, like a vacation or something, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that case might be for her.
Yeah. I think, look, when you're first starting out, you're usually a solopreneur and you got to do everything yourself and you got to kind of just do it. But, that moment you're able to finally hire somebody and get like somebody who is going to, kind of be that yin to your yang. You don't need 2 yous.
No. That's where most business owners go wrong.
Yeah. Like, oh, we're friends. Well, yeah, because you two are both freaking airheads.
Yeah.
you while your head's in the clouds, you need somebody who's freaking down here.
Yep.
Making it happen.
You out.
Yeah. Because if we're all just optimists, we're never going to see the problems. So I like having, people like her in the organization who are just like, hey, dude, like, I get it. You want to do this, but here's the thing. There's a lot that's going to go into this. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's cool.
She remembers a lot of the bad experiences more than I do.
Yeah.
Like I just move past it and don't dwell on it. And not that she dwells on it, but she'll have like case studies. Remember last time we did this? I was like, yeah, but it wasn't that bad. And she's like, oh, here's this, and this. All right. And then she's like, it happened 2 times before that. Like, are we going to continue this? And like,
are we going to learn a lesson finally?
And then I'm like, okay, fine. Or she'll be like, we just talked about this with Ryan. Why are we doing this? And then like it's super easy when it's a proof source that's above you.
Yeah.
Like when it's a proof source that's equal to you or not that she's less than me by any means.
Yeah.
But what I want in life, she hasn't achieved, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing against her.
Yeah.
But when someone's achieved what you want, or is next step up the ladder, not that you've achieved what I ultimately want in life, but you're definitely farther in the race than I am.
Yeah.
It's much easier to listen to you.
Yeah.
And like we had dinner with Ed Milet, 6 months ago or something like that.
Yep.
When you hear him talk about all the problems he's had and all these things, and and the reason I pay for her to go to these dinners is because she
hears it too,
and she comprehends it and remembers more of the bad things. I hear like the high, he owns all these houses and all these nice waters, right? He owns all these CVSs and stuff.
Yeah.
But she remembers that the CVSs aren't paying.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
She remembers all of those things.
Yep.
She remembers that the storm hit the one house. And hey, just because you can afford that $5 million house, Michael, no, don't go buy that today. Because if that storm hits and that insurance doesn't pay out, you're hosed. Doesn't matter if you have that trophy asset if you can't take care of it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I pay for her to go to those events, because me, the visionary, I'll focus on the gold nugget or that $100 billion idea and just go at it, and she'll see the obstacles that Ed's talking about. Yeah. And two, like for me, Ed talked about how he talks to his daughter and his son and things like that. That was super important to me, and that's another reason I'm around you. Is you're such a family man, and that's where I've always been weak. And so, just getting around people that are better than you in the areas that you want to be better in, or where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And so,
no, 100%. And that's why it's funny with Ed. Obviously, him and I have become good friends, and he's going to be speaking at our Kingdom Summit. For those of you who don't know, kingdomrevivals.com. We'll link to it down below. But I'm with you. I forgot that. Oh yeah, he did have those Walgreens that aren't looking too hot right now. He's pretty mad about him.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
And it was because he listened to someone that he had never listened to before.
Yep.
And he's like, if I would have dug in a little bit deeper, I would have realized these Walgreens were going sour.
Yeah. But he still bought them.
Crazy, right?
Yep. But it goes to show, and this is how we get too. It's like you start making money and you get more loose with your cash, right? When you're just getting started, you're like, bro, no, we're not wasting money over here. This is what we're going to do. And then, you're like, we could get this. We could get that. We could get this. We could get that. Let's take some risk. And, oh, that sounds sexy. Cool. Oh, he had success doing that. Let me try that. And all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I just burned like so much money on a whole bunch of crap. And now I'm back to just what I was doing before.
Yeah. And we went through all that with our construction company and things like that.
Yeah.
And so
I know the story too well.
Just been focusing the last 12 months.
So what would you say is, like, if you had one word to describe like what the last 12 months have like taught you, what would you say?
Last 12 months have taught me just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's boring. It's not exciting. But if I look back, we may not have upward trajectory every month on revenue, but we have an upward trajectory on a lot of other things and then the revenue is going to follow.
Yes. Yes.
And
your foundation is being built bigger and bigger.
100%. And that's been really good for the mind, right? Knowing that, okay, cool, revenue's not great. If we were just looking at this month, the last 30 days, we're not profitable for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But what did I do the prior 60 days?
Yeah.
Okay, we
killed it.
We smashed it, and we developed some headaches. Now we're figuring out those headaches. We're taking a step back, and so just being consistent. It's not sexy, and that's what I'm learning is that to get to the next level of. For us, it's that 8-figure mark, $10 million in revenue in a 12-month span, is you got to do the same boring thing over and over again. Yeah. So like the biggest reason we're not consistent on our sales team is I don't manage them on a daily and weekly basis consistently. I might have one-on-ones with them twice a month or once a month consistently, and that's great. But the months that we have our best month, I've done it 6 to 8 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh, we're killing it.
Finally figured it out.
We just had our best month. They don't need me anymore. And then I go 2 to 4 weeks, and typically something in my life has happened too, to where I get emotional for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I got to do better at that. And so when I take a step back, I'm like, dang, we did 6 to 8 weeks prior to, like, February is our best month. We did just over 400K.
Yeah.
And if I look at all of January, I met with my sales guys every week.
And it paid off in February.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I started that the week of Christmas.
Exactly.
So it was 5 weeks of consistently doing it, and then it started to pay off.
Why do you think emotionally you might like do that, right?
For me, I think I've always been good at sales. Like I've been knocking on doors since I was 8 to get money. And so for me, I've never been in a position where I get to a place where I have $1 million in my bank account and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I can't understand why someone slows down, but most people aren't that way.
Yeah.
Like you could literally hand me $1 billion. Like people were like, oh, what am I going to do if I have $1 billion? I would get up and go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would be at the gym at 4:30.
Yeah.
My life would not change if I got $1 billion tomorrow.
Yep.
You could hand me anything in the world. It won't change.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to work. You want to grow.
Yeah. That's all it is for me. I want to grow and get better. And so I can't understand. Not everyone has that mindset.
Yeah.
And so when I see them starting to get better, I'm like, okay, they're going to carry this on. They don't need me.
Yep.
And that's not the truth.
Yeah.
And it's something you've said. I don't know how many times I've heard you tell me or say it in general, but you're like, dude, if they were you, they wouldn't work for you. Like if they didn't need a push, they didn't need education and training,
They would
and they had to
already be doing
drive.
their own thing.
Yeah. They already have the multi-million-dollar business or whatever.
Yep.
And so
Entrepreneurs always think that, dude. They think it goes back to just only thinking really in our own mind and how
Yep.
we perceive the world. We're like, oh, well, freaking, why wouldn't they just do that? And it's like, dude, people don't think like that.
no, and it's a good thing for us. Like,
Yeah.
We'd have no employees.
Yeah, that's true. Because they're like, oh, well, that's a great idea. I'll just go do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, dude, they don't want the risk. They don't want the headache. They don't want to run the marketing department.
They want to shut off.
They don't want to hire people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they want to be out at 5. They want security, knowing that they're going to make the money they're going to make.
Yep.
Like people, it goes back to why do sellers sell for, not every time on the MLS for top dollar.
Yeah.
Because they value different things.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
everyone values, making and even entrepreneurs, right? It's like, if I focused solely 100% on my house flipping business, it could be better, right?
Yeah.
It would be much bigger. But that's not what I like. That's not what I want to value. Like I have
Yeah, you have
other
a bigger
things I want to
brand
do.
vision.
Yeah. And even then, it's like not everything about growth is just simply related to money, right? Like I might hit a money side of things where I'm like, okay, like this is good. But that doesn't mean I stop working. Now I'm like, all right, let's go build the nonprofit up. Let's go build Wealthy Kingdom. Let's go really devote to making the podcast even better.
Yep.
Let's go and, be with the wife and the kids and really go deep in that. Like it's all work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
I was literally just in my one-on-one talking to one of my employees, and he's like, I just want more balance. I was like, that's the thing. You never shut off.
Yeah.
I was like, when you shut off, how happy is your significant other? Oh, she's not happy.
Yeah. You got to work at it.
Yeah. You got to be focused in it. And he's like, well, I can't. I was like, yeah, you can. You got to build that muscle. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Hell no. But could it happen in 6, 9, 12 months if you're intentional about it? Yes.
Yeah. How often do you find yourself being like a Tony Robbins to your guys?
Way too often.
You can do it, man.
Yeah. And all the time. I think that's what most of my employees would say is like, I'm super, like whatever they're going through or whatever we're going through, I'm like, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
We'll continue. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I've been doing this a long time. We'll be all right.
And it's not that I've been doing it a long time. I just listen to people like you, Tony Robinson, Ed Milet,
Yeah.
and that's what they say.
That's what they say. It must be true.
Their experience shows it is. Like
Yeah.
they've had bigger problems than I have.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I'm entering year 10
Yeah.
of flipping houses. And I'm like, man, there's not a lot of guys who have made it 10 years.
no,
And
not a lot of people make 10 years in anything.
yeah. And I've had to like change so often. So anytime we go through a change, I always have to remind them, even guys who've been with me for years, I'm like, guys, remember when we first tried TV and you guys were scared as crap?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
We wrote that $25,000 check for advertisement.
Yeah. I'm like, remember when we got no deals the first month and I was out 20 G's and I was like, not sure if this was going to be a good play or not?
Yeah, that was my first month too.
Yeah. And then I'm like, remember when, I decided to leave you guys and start making social media content and you guys were super scared because I wasn't going to go close all the deals anymore? And remember we figured it out, and you just got to constantly remind them of like other situations that were just as scary, if not more scary.
Yep.
And remember when we got through it? Okay, so this new thing we're going to try, do you think, being in it now 10 years, we're going to figure it out? Is this exact thing that we're going to try going to work? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know if it's going to work out the way that I'm hoping it's going to work out. I have an idea, but once we get some feedback and data, we're going to tweak it. And I can tell you, we are going to find whatever works. I just, it's going to be a process.
Yeah, and it's never a failure. You learn stuff from it, and then you can take that to the next thing and apply it to that and be that much farther.
Yep. Well, bro, I'm excited to see you grow, man. My one piece of advice for you and everyone, just so listen on air, make sure Leela is treated good.
Yeah,
because she's I just know from experience, she's like already out there right now. Who knows how many notes she's taken while we've been
pages.
filming.
So grateful for it.
Yeah. So, I do recognize like the key people in my organization. I'm like, hey, other people can leave and stuff, but man, I got to really make sure my key people are taken care of. And like, these people are the ones I want with me for a decade, like she has been.
Yeah. So for us, we actually just had a real serious talk about it.
Yeah.
She lost one of her grandparents 2 weeks ago now, and she's still got 3, and she wants to spend more time with it. I'm like, you work too much. And like, I could see that she works, but she's not nearly as effective. And I was like, honestly, if you started leaving at 3 every day, because she gets at 5, because she works from 5 to 9 when no one's there.
Oh.
She gets so much shit done. And that's what she loves to do.
Yeah.
Because she's the person that knows everything.
Yeah.
So like, she's everyone's like,
yeah.
No one knows as much. No 3 minds know as much as she does, from accounts payable team to content team, anything like that.
Yeah.
And so she works 5 to 9, and we're like, hey, you've worked a full day by noon. I said, if you stay to 2 every day to just like be there for the team because they need you, bounce at 2, especially going into summer.
Yeah.
I was like, you'll have so much free time.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can go see your grandparents. She wants to see one of them one week, another one another week.
Yeah.
And then she'll probably work the rest of the time, truth be told, if I know her well enough. But like
that, but now she's getting some more balance.
Yeah, it's more balance, and like me as the owner had to give her like that it's okay. Like,
yeah, and it helps you avoid burnout. This is the misconception people get. Like, I golfed this morning.
Yeah.
I got WealthCon coming up. Like, but I'm like, hey, I already know I'm about to be like the next 72 hours
work
full force, talking to everybody, nonstop. I'm like, I might as well go relax and enjoy my life.
Yep.
For now.
Yeah, and that's where we're at. We're at a constant state of revenue. We don't have any we have major headaches, but nothing that we know we can't solve.
Yep.
And so it's like, yes, take this time for now, and cool, and like let's build in that grandparent thing so it never goes away.
Yep. And then let's build a foundation that when we're ready to push again, we're gonna go push again, and you'll know, and you'll be refreshed and ready to go.
Yep.
Like, people just need seasons of change. Like, hey, dude, we just had this season of like going super hard. Let's ease back a little bit.
Yep.
We've earned it. We hit our goal. Let's celebrate. And then, let's kind of stay in this season for however long we decide that's good. And then now let's go back.
Yep. And so that's what we're kind of doing with her.
Yeah.
So, and I honestly think
it's going to make her better.
I think it's going to make her better, but I bet she gets more work done in less time.
I guarantee that will happen.
And
I say that all the time.
It won't, like, there's won't be a production drop off.
There's not going to be any production drop off.
No, she'll be like in the office less, but I know her well enough. She will get better.
She'll get more efficient.
Yep.
100%.
And I'm super excited that. And she'll buy back her time. Like, she wants to pick up golf and stuff like that too. And so when you're out at 2, she can go do those things.
She wants to be a golfer? Now you definitely can't let her go.
Right.
And she wants to buy back her time.
Yeah,
I mean, she's going to get to meet Dan Martell this weekend, so she's going to have a good time.
Yeah, we're super excited. So
dope.
Appreciate you.
Well, bro, it's an honor, man. Happy to have you on finally. Excited for everything you guys are building. And, guys, if you're in Columbus or Ohio in general, send this man your deals.
Yeah.
He's a buyer. And he wants to go get, $1 million of deals. Let's go send him some.
Yeah. And if you're looking for a sales job, that is our constraint right now. So
do they have to be in person, or can they be virtual?
Currently, we're doing in person. We haven't figured out the whole virtual thing yet.
Okay.
So
they got to move to Columbus.
Yep. Or already be in Columbus.
Yeah. So anybody who wants, potential 6-figure job and learn from the best, man, hit this guy up. So what's the best way for them to hit you up?
Yeah. Follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. I reply to all those. So it's just Real Estate Mike 02.
Real Estate Mike 02. 02.
02. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll link to it down below. Guys, also subscribe to the podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.